Hey there, YouTube. It's me, Broken Terrain, and I'm coming to you with a unique crafting video this week. I'm going to show you my barrel hack. Quick, cheap, easy barrels. Let's do it right after the drop. I love DM Scotty, and he's got wonderful videos and tutorials on many great pieces of terrain. And he has a great video on how to make barrels. You use a corrugated cardboard, make cuts along the cardboard, and glue them into circles, bending the tops and bottoms, and then adding a little thin chip to be the bands. It produces a wonderful looking barrel, but it is a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and you can see they're very sloppy. At least mine are very sloppy. I don't have the patience for the white glue. I use hot glue, especially around these curved forms. And these take a long time. This one barrel will take you a long time. Now I'm going to show you these. Perhaps a little better of scale with our figurines. Much easier to make. Nine of them for $2. And with a coupon, they'll be even cheaper. They also have larger barrels. They're a little larger. Can you imagine a almost 6 foot tall barrel or beyond? But they look pretty good. How do we get these and these to look like this? I'm going to show you. These are great. They take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and for under $2 and just a little bit of time, you can produce a very good looking barrel. 9 of them for $2. Can't beat it. So the first step in upscaling these cheap wooden barrels is to grab yourself a sharp pick, etching tool, or X-Acto knife. And very methodically, you're going to start scratching those lines in the barrel. Don't worry about the measurements or distance. Eyeball it. Just scratch those lines across. You're just creating definition and a groove that the paint scheme, which is ultimately just a brown wash, can sink into and create some definition. I start with the middle, and then after my middle lines are done, I work on the small areas between the two iron bands on either side. And then across the tops and bottoms, on the small barrels, I've decided that the tops and bottoms should be 3 planks, so I'll scratch in 2 lines. And on these larger barrels, I've decided that 4 planks looks better, so I'll scratch in 3 lines, 1 down the center and 1 line in the center of either side. I find that this looks pretty good and seems to fit the scale. Honestly, that's the hardest, most time-consuming part about this. Afterward, once your barrels have been etched and you've created some definition for the planking, it's time to cover them in a brown wash. The wood will soak the wash up and create all kinds of interesting texture and variation of color. And you'll notice those lines that you've etched in to create a look of separate boards. The wash is going to flow right into them and really just punch these barrels up a notch. It looks fantastic. I've got the footage speeded up, and while we're watching, I'm just going to remind you to please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I could really use your help in growing the channel and sharing my love of crafting and miniatures and gaming with the rest of the world. So I'm going to thank you ahead of time for doing that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for joining me here on YouTube and letting me entertain you for just a few minutes. I really do appreciate it. Painting these with just the brown wash takes almost no time. And before you've even realized it, your entire pouch of 9 barrels will be all done up, and you'll be setting them aside to dry. And they dry really quickly. These little wooden pieces soak up a brown wash super fast, and within 15-20 minutes you'll be ready to start painting the metal bands. I turn to one of my go-tos, gunmetal gray, and then it's just a very careful application of paint across the bands. You will go outside the edges. I'm not a great painter, and so I go outside the edges many times. But at this scale, these being just scatter pieces, no one is going to notice. In fact, even if they did, I'm going to tell you they're going to overlook it and just enjoy the heck out of these tiny little barrels on your terrain pieces. Heck, my wife doesn't even play, and when I showed her these little barrels, she darn near let out a little squeal. She loves them. She thinks they're adorable. And you will too. This process isn't particularly difficult, but it does take a little bit of time. And I found the best way to approach it is to paint the 2 bands on one barrel, and then set that barrel aside and begin painting another. And as you paint through the barrels, when you get done with the first half of all your barrels, you'll find that the paint has dried, and you'll be able to go back to the first barrel and start the process all over again. You'll work through these fairly quickly, and in short order you will have many barrels, and that's a good thing. It's easy to decorate and populate a scene with barrels. They're almost everywhere. They make sense in almost every encounter. They give players a place to hide. They give enemies and players a place for cover to dodge arrows and magic blasts. And they're a great story element. You can always send them out for barrels of special potions and cure-alls, and even high-end ale and wine that merchants might be paying the players generously to retrieve from bandits and thieves. You can't go wrong with making plenty of little barrels. Here's a quick shot of all the barrels finished and painted up. And I've got a little scene set up. A couple of our heroes have been tasked with cleaning out the cellar. It looks like a couple giant rats have been bothering the innkeep. And another setup. Our heroes have just stepped through the door of a bandit hideout. The bandits are enjoying some ale and food at the tables, while their bandit queen sits upon her throne, enjoying her view of the spoils. Can our heroes deal peacefully with the bandits and their bandit queen? Or will they be destined to get into combat? Only time will tell. Until next time, love one another, like one another, have a great day, and craft on.